Hey y'all, I'm Hudson.
And I'm Harmony, and we're building a van in 3 months before our lease ends in an apartment, and today we're doing Kilmat and Insulation, installing in our van. Let's get started. For our Ford Transit high roof extended, we ended up getting an 18 square foot box, and then we got another 36 square foot box for the van. And to install it, we made sure to precisely put it where we were wanting and then slide our hands completely over the Kilmat slowly but surely to make sure that we didn't get any air bubbles inside of it. Then afterwards, we went in with a roller to make sure that we really pressed on that adhesive onto the van so that it was securely in place. Then for smaller sections in the van later on, we cut the Kilmat into pieces and placed it where needed. Kilmat, if you don't know, is sound deadening and it stops vibrations of the van when driving.
There's like maybe a little bubble in there. See that? I think it might have a permanent bubble in there, honey.
So we got Kilmat done in our van. We didn't get like a lot to put in the van.
I think we got covered in the van probably like 10%, 15% maybe. We've heard lots of mixed reviews on if this stuff actually works and if it has any real impact on the sound. Personally, I actually do think it has an effect on the vibration. We noticed whenever we were driving over bumps that it did vibrate less, which was nice. It's an area where I think you could probably save some money. I don't think you have to spend too much on insulation, or not insulation, but Kilmat.
Any more that we would have put into the van, I don't know if it really would have had an effect.
Yeah. And we made sure to do the wheel wells because that was an important part that we've heard. I think it might be overrated. It's there, but you don't really think about it after you've probably built because you never see it again. I mean, we've seen people that don't even put up Kilmat.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
We don't know. Yeah, maybe. We are starting installation today, which is really exciting. We are finally able to put it to use and not have it just sitting in our living room, which is awesome. And so yeah, we're gonna get it started. Tools are scissors, 3M adhesive, and we're doing respiratory masks just to be safe because you really shouldn't be inhaling all that stuff. And obviously Thinsulate, if that's what your installation is going to be, that's what we're going to do. But we have a busy week ahead of us, hoping to get insulation done and framing. Probably going to be what we get done this week. Don't know if that's going to happen. And we're also
traveling, trying to figure that out. We might be moving into our van a little bit early, not really moving in, but just like temporarily in our van for a second. We're borrowing a air mattress from my parents while we travel because we don't really quite have a place to stay, I don't know, guaranteed yet at my relative's house.
Yeah.
And so we might be just roughing it in the van for a second on an air mattress. That'll be fun.
I think we'll have a spot to stay, but we're becoming prepared just in case we don't have a place to stay. I mean, I wouldn't mind roughing it out of the van.
I think I kind of want to. I think I kind of want to do it just for fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So that's more motivation to get the installation done today because we might be sleeping in our van.
Yep. I'm really hoping that even though we're traveling this coming week, that it doesn't interfere too much with what we're trying to get done.
We may have a potential spot, or we could be working on this in a shop. That could be an opportunity we're kind of inquiring about at the moment. So we'll see about that, but that would be a dream because if we could secure that, I mean, that includes tools, a potential use of a CNC machine for cabinets and other stuff, and you can totally do it without that, but Man, if we had that now.
It'd be very efficient.
Yeah.
And I think we have, how many weeks left?
Let's see, March.
4, 5, 6, 7. 7 weeks left.
7 weeks left.
So a little less than 2 months until we need to be done with our van so we can move into it.
We're already kind of behind. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're behind by 2 weeks right now. Hopefully that doesn't, you know, get delayed even further. Yeah, I'm hoping that travel does not push that back.
Wish us luck.
We did get to go ahead with our relatives for this upcoming travel week that we will be able to stay with them. So unfortunately, no van camping this time, but we do have that space to be able to feel a little bit more comfortable, and I think that'll be a lot easier with building the van while we're traveling. Something people don't tell you about when installing insulation is that it is quite difficult to cut, but I think it may be the scissors that we used, they are just our kitchen scissors. So I think there's a specific type of scissors you should get to cut insulation easier, just a PSA.
So the fabric kept getting stuck back in the back of the scissors here, so I definitely feel like kitchen scissors are probably not the best choice for cutting the fabric here. Probably want something like tailor scissors or fabric cutters.
We found an easier hack to be able to cut this insulation, which is I'm holding a corner or a section that he is cutting away from, and that helps with the tension to be able to cut through it easier. To help get this fabric into tinier spaces like this section, we ended up using a broom stick and shoving it down so that we could really make sure that all of those cracks were insulated.
So we added some up here in the top as well in these little spots, and are going to add some more over here, as well as kind of getting back in those little gaps to avoid the thermal bridging.
What we ended up doing here was figuring out the cut for one side and using it as a template for the other side, and then we're cutting all of our giant pieces and gluing them all at the end so we don't have to deal with the adhesive. For these tiny holes right here, it's kind of hard to measure and get the precise measurements and shove insulation in there. So what we're doing is we're cutting strips and then shoving it in and not really thinking too much about it.
We did end up measuring for these top panels. I think it's about 4 inches across, but it still is kind of a pain to get these pieces in there.
This is day 3 of insulating the van. Hudson's up here in the front working, and I'm going to cut some pieces. Something I have learned along the way with Kilmat and insulating is that I have cut up my hands with a whole bunch of paper cuts, and so if you have gloves, I'd recommend wearing gloves just because Kilmat can cut you, and the walls of vans can cut you too. So here's an example of where you can get cut. These little, ouch, I just did it. That's crazy. Yeah, so that's just one example. You can also get cut by when you shove insulation here. These edges are a little bit rigid / sharp on the inside.
My finger. You can.
Yeah, Hudson got a good little chunk out of his finger right there.
So we took this guy off of here. It's just like the seal on the inside of the door. And this stuff's pretty easy to pry off. It's just kind of like that die cord, just the lap sealant again. I think it's something similar to what they use there, but it's pretty easy to pull off.
And then it'll be easy just to stick back on the metal.
Yeah.
We did, what was it, 18 by 32, 31?
Something like that, yeah.
18
31.
by 31 to fit on the side. Also, it's weird, the other panel didn't come with a seal like the first one, which was interesting, but I guess one is better than none.
Okay, so I am working on the sliding passenger door right now, and there's these little tabs, these little screws right here that come out. They're just little tiny pieces of plastic you can kind of see right there. You got these little slits on the side where you can kind of just dig your finger in right there and pull it out. I was using 2 flathead screwdrivers instead of just my fingers because my fingernails are kind of short. There are these other screws that you actually have to use a star bit to be able to unscrew. There's 4 of them, and because it's a sliding door, it gets really, really narrow right in here to get to that last one, so it's kind of difficult. So I figured out another way to do it, and you can just come around right here where you got this gap, and you can do it right here. So, pro tip from a non-pro.
We're taking off the seal and then inserting the insulation. So Hudson just unlatched this top section by pulling it down.
Yeah, there's these like little adhesive sticky parts on the bottom of these guys. You gotta be careful because if you pull it without really caring, it'll rip that whole adhesive thing out, and then it makes it really hard to reattach. But there's these little finger divots right here to where you can kind of grab it like this and pull it directly where you're wanting it, which make it really, really simple and easy. And then we're gonna just slide this guy back up in there. I think it's 26 inches deep, and then we measured roughly a little bit over 60 across because the width of the van is 60 on the roof.
And we wanted to make sure it folded down.
Yeah.
This is day 5 of us doing the installation. We did not expect it to be this long, but we have found a couple hacks along the way. These panels right here are super hard to get into, so we're kind of shoving up, and then we took a screwdriver and we placed it in the hole very carefully, because if not, you can make a lot of scratches if you're just not careful. And you kind of teeter-totter it and move the insulation up so that you're able to get those pieces into the tight, narrow crevices. We ended up buying 2 adhesive bottles for the installation, but we will need an extra one, come to realize. And what we did was we sprayed it on the insulation and on the van, and then waited till it was tacky to the touch, and then pressed it into each other. We are waiting to do the middle panel on the top of the van because we're thinking about doing a skylight, and then we're waiting on the back panel on the top of the van because we have to cut out our boxes for solar, and we don't know where they're going to be yet. For the top and bottom guys, we cut them to size, so we only felt like we needed to add a little bit of glue to keep them in place, so that's what we did. And any ones that were snug, we just left alone.
All right, so these are the wheel well covers, and we're just taking some of the insulation that was on the, I guess on the van before we bought it, just factory insulation, and we're putting our own in there, so that was just better, because this stuff is kind of cheap, and don't really know if it's hydrophobic or water resistant or anything like that. I've just been cheap insulation. So we're just gonna sit here and peel it out and then put some of our own insulation on the inside of it. So it should be good.
And then we'll put the screws in and we'll be all good.
Thank you guys so much for watching the video and just following along as we install our Kilmat Installation. If you guys have any questions about anything we did today, or if you're just curious, just want to talk to us, feel free to drop a comment down below in the not the description, but just in the comment section. And then we have links to everything we use in our build in the description. Appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.